We'll do like something. I'll edit this first part. All right. Okay. So tell me about the program that you're in. Actually, first tell me about the UCLA program that got you interested into writing for children's stories, and then tell me about the Vermont program.
Sure. So it was UCLA Extension, and I had been interested in learning more about writing for children. I went to this SCBWI conference, which is the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. Okay. And a couple of the published authors had gone through the UCLA Extension writing program.
Oh, okay.
So, and it worked with my work schedule and such, taking these courses in the evening, and I looked into it, and they really do have a really reputable program. So I started off wanting to just write picture books. So I took...
now why is that? As opposed to, like, say, write something for adults, why were you interested in writing something for children? Was the material that you were interested in, subject matter that got you into that?
Yeah, at first I was thinking that I would actually do a lot of the artwork myself, so that's where originally too with the picture book. But also I just was sort of in love with that age, sort of the vast, depth of imagination you could use with the younger age. So I also, some of the stories were just sort of geared a little bit younger. And there was something too about the economy of words with picture books.
Sure.
It really is like poetry. And even in the Vermont program, these writers, everyone is so intimidated by picture books because of that, because it's so hard to do well, because it is very, it's poetry,
right.
And it's very...
yeah, it's like writing a poem, and then I guess you also have to be or have an illustrator, right, that's good enough, so it'll be appealing for the younger reader.
Exactly. And so I was actually kind of intrigued by that challenge too, of writing, not writing prose,
right.
Of writing for this particular age group in this genre that was just so beautiful about that perfect word, and creating with rhythm and using alliteration and kind of almost like lyrics,
right.
in a way. So so that's why I first took the picture book class, and then I took I took the advanced writing for children and young adults, where you could sort of play with picture books or middle grade or young adult or nonfiction or chapter books and such. So I took that, which is sort of the habit with this one instructor, that you would take it several times. There was kind of a cult so I took that class a couple times. Right. And but at that point, I was still going to these SCBWI conferences every August, which are it's such a healthy organization, and it's just 3 days of intense workshops and keynote speakers and lectures, and you learn so much. And and so I had heard this one executive editor who had a theater background, which I do as well, and she had published many middle grade series, and I just sort of wondered like how she got from the theater background into the publishing world, and it was Vermont College of Fine Arts.
Oh.
So I looked into it, because at the time I didn't know if I could just sort of up and go to grad school, but it's a low residency program, and how it's very, very well regarded in the low residency program. You have your traditional masters in creative writing, like Iowa and that are Irvine, that are very well regarded as the traditional kind of form. But in the low residency world, which is becoming more and more popular, Vermont College, has been #1 over the years, and certainly it's been in the top 5. And even at this SCBWI conferences, this last one I went to, it's amazing how often it was referenced.
Oh, I see.
And so, and it's geared toward people who have lives. I mean, it's essentially you go to 4 10-day residencies in Vermont, which you don't really do much writing there. That's more lectures and meeting with the new advisors. Every semester you get an advisor, which is this incredible published author who you send packets of work and they send it back. So everything is, it's not necessarily, I mean, you do email now and again, but it's really an independent study. But that's what kind of writing is.
Right, sure.
Too. So,
but you have a guide there
yeah.
with this instructor, or at least advisor, that will look at your work.
Exactly. And they really, they're just all incredibly talented and gifted instructors too, who know how to, they tell you your strengths and your challenges of things you need to work on, but they spend a lot of time, and it's incredible. Even this, I'm going into my second semester. It really is amazing how much you grow as a writer.
And how many times do you turn in a draft?
Every month. So
every month, wow.
Yeah, so every month you have what they call the packet. This is the word, like all the graduates, it's like you never want to hear the word packet again. It's like the packet is the thing. And so you turn in 5 packets in a semester. Each packet you have a letter, typed letter to your advisor, which is essentially your communication with them. Because you don't, I mean, everyone's a writer too, so it is the stereotype that most people don't want to talk on the phone. Everyone just wants to write an email and not talk to people.
Sure.
So you send this letter, which is basically talking about your experience in the last month of creating all the material and your strengths and your challenges, and they respond to that letter. And then you read 10 to 15 books, and they can be within a month. They can be a mix of picture books, middle grade, chapter books, young adult.
So you're constantly reading.
You're constantly reading, and that really is like, oh my gosh, that is the best possible thing you can do. It's just because it's pretty
you have to
common
know
sense.
Feel.
Yeah, but you start as you learn, and they want you to read writing craft books, and poetry and nonfiction, the classics, which is a good definition of that is anything written before you were born, which for some of us it's farther back than others, and then and then you have to do half of the books you annotate, or you write about a paragraph where you comment on a writing craft issue that the story does.
So you kind of analyze the narrative.
Yeah.
Or the style, at least, for the narrative.
Exactly. And, it does 2 things. It makes you really think about what you're reading.
Right.
And it also helps you to identify different craft issues because, even when you're writing, if you're not really making a study of the different elements that make a book good,
right.
It is very unconscious, and we all have kind of those unconscious sort of talents and sort of awarenesses. But when you really kind of know what you're working with, like, oh wow, I could bring in this endowed object into this story to make or whatever the element of craft is, then obviously you just have more tools at your disposal.
So you're reading, you're annotating, and then you also have to turn in a draft.
You do have to. You turn in about 40 pages of what they call the creative.
Wow, 40 pages.
40 pages a month, and then you do 2 critical essays, which are 3 to 5 pages. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and those are all on an element of craft, and based on your reading.
Hey, do you get graded on that? Do they grade you on at least the critical essays?
The whole program doesn't use grades. It's all credits.
Yeah, that's the new thing now.
Yeah.
People actually, even Harvard's thinking of dropping their final exam.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't see the need for having something that's like the summative analysis of what one does. Or even a grade, which is pretty arbitrary.
Yeah.
It's really what skills you learn from it, like the knowledge that you gain from the class. So a grade is unnecessary. But you get feedback even on critical essays.
Yeah. Okay. And some people, I've been lucky. I haven't had to rewrite any, but they will. They will make you they talk about that. Try not to get too behind in your critical essays because they'll make you rewrite them. But actually, my first advisor, and I do this now, instilled a really good habit because she actually required us to turn in a very detailed outline of our critical essays about a week or 2 before they were due, and that does help tremendously. And this advisor that I have now is so great. She says do the drafts of the critical essays before you do your creative writing, and then come back to them, and it'll be so much better.
Oh, I see.
And that's so true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. And so it's in the creative. Once you get kind of on your second and third packet, you tend to have to do maybe 20 pages of revision of what you turned in the last packet, and then 20 new pages.
Wow.
Yeah, and then before the residency comes up, you meet these workshop groups where others critique your work, and they're very thoughtful, and but you have to turn in new material. So within the next month or so, I'll have to turn in something new that they can get ready for the January residency too.
Okay. And how many times do you go to Vermont?
So within the 2 years of the program, you actually, as far as I understand, there's 5 residencies because you have your 4, and then your last residency is your graduation.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know? So, so it's every January and July. You know, so it's like the heart of winter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Vermont must be beautiful.
Yeah. And then the summer.
The humidity of summer.
Yeah.
Sure.
And but it it really is kind of magical. I mean, everyone in the program, it's like everyone's kind of drinking the Kool-Aid of it. Like,
sure.
It is just, it's so intense. But wow, I mean, the intensity of it obviously is what makes you learn so much faster.
I mean, we saw your desks, so and how many notes you have on that desk. I mean, is that one of the hardest things to do? If you have that, what's this, the storyboard?
Or like a scene
board?
list,
Right.
or yeah.
That helps you stay focused. Right?
Yeah.
But do you ever see, particularly with all those notes, do you see yourself typing in a way you turn in a draft and you find this one note that said, shit, I should I skipped this one scene, it should be added.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I guess they could rewrite, when you get to rewrite it again, you could insert things that you would have otherwise put in.
Exactly. But that is a good point, because that is really time consuming, because you get this feedback back from your advisor. And you study it. I mean, you review it, study it, because that's the point.
Right.
You want to use their feedback. So, you're really taking into consideration their notes, and then of course you have your natural tendency when you're revising.
Right, to add other stuff. Are these advisors and they're established writers?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all very, most are award winners and published in. And most are probably middle grade and young adult, but there's definitely a lot that have been picture books as well.
Wow.
And they're all, it's incredibly supportive too. I mean, that's what's sort of magical about it too, because writing is so personal, and it's so much about, you're like digging into your state of mind.
Right.
Like some of the exercises that my first advisor had was writing from the hole in your heart too, because anytime maybe your writing gets a little too superficial, or it's just like they say, like don't put everything that you're going through in life here and then write from here.
Right.
You gotta use all of that. When you're.
So did you ever get comment when you thought it was like very critical of what you were putting out? And how do you deal with that?
I think, I could.
So you put your heart out onto a piece of paper. Someone shreds it to pieces. Do over.
I know.
I mean, do you get comments like that?
Well, I've been pretty lucky. Like, I definitely get some, things that I need to work on. But I've been, I'm so hard on myself that it's probably because I go through all the hell beforehand. But I definitely have had comments where it's like, ooh, that was like, they say it's so nice, but I'm trying to think of one too that was specific, but it was, and it's almost because it's, and that's sort of the discipline of writing. Is, sometimes you just, there will be something that doesn't work, like even this last manuscript.
No, right.
I essentially put too much in the first page. Like, before, I wanted this character to, her personality is very self-expressed, but I just, I had a little bit too much in the first page, and I knew that. And then sure enough, the comment was, take some of this out and such. And because they always talk about the first page, like all the editors and publishers, like if they won't go past the first page. So it's like, okay, I got to put everything in the first page, but
Same thing with me as a teacher. I look at the first page, it's terrible. Then I know what the grade is.
I'm sure.
But then you read all the way through. So they don't have kid gloves. They're willing to actually
Yeah.
basically comment critically on a creative work that you invested in.
Definitely, and that, I mean, of course, it's good practice because that's what your editor
Sure,
will
that's
do.
true.
I mean, the rest of your writing life, you're going to have to, and even they say, for, you know, when they get feedback from their editors, they read it, and then set it aside for 3 days.
Ah.
And then you kind of process it, and you know